What's going on, everybody? It's the Franz, and we're here with AEW on TNT review for April the 7th, 2021. We are on our way to a very special episode of AEW coming next month. We'll talk about that here in a bit. Tonight's main event is Jon Moxley and the Young Bucks versus Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers with the dumbest fucking ending they could have come up with. AEW has got to, they came out at the beginning of this is like, we're going to be an alternative. We're going to do things that fans want. We want to be able to make the fans happy. And I know you can't do that 100% of the time. You can't make every fan happy because you do something positive, there's always going to be some dumbass out there who's like, oh, I didn't like that because of X, Y, and Z. But what they did in the end of tonight was so fucking bad. It fucking sucked. And we'll talk about that at the end. But we start off with Max Caster versus Hangman Adam Page. Anthony Bowens, of course, at Max Caster's side. Hangman Page right now in the rankings is the number one contender via rankings, even though most of the time rankings doesn't seem to matter worth shit. Because you give people title matches who don't deserve them. Anyway, so we get the match. Max Caster's rapping beforehand is kind of weak. He does make a Joe Biden joke, which was kind of funny, but other than that, yeah, kind of weak. So, we have this match here. Anthony Bowens gives Hangman Adam Page everything that he can. Max Caster gives him everything that he can. Bowens, of course, tries to help Max Caster as Hangman's going for the Deadeye. Caster actually throws the boombox into the ring. That, of course, is a distraction, so the referee will take the boombox and Caster can use the metal chain to knock out Hangman Page. Now, usually when Caster does this, when they do this little thing here, Caster hits them, goes up top, and hits the elbow drop for the win. He did not do that this time. He actually just pinned him for a 2, then went up for the elbow drop. Of course, Hangman kicked out. Hangman ends up going for a buckshot lariat, but Bowens grabs his leg and stops that for a minute. He kicks Bowens off, does a back somersault onto him, knocking him down, then kicks Caster in the gut, sends him out, hits the clothesline, and that is that. So, yeah, Hangman Adam Page. Will he be the number one contender going into the pay-per-view? I don't know. Right now, he's been the number one contender for at least the last few weeks. So I guess we have to wait and see what happens there. So, Tony Schiavone out there to interview, not Sting this time, which will come later. We have Death Triangle. He mentions about the Casino Battle Royal and their win. So next week, it is the Young Bucks versus Death Triangle for the World Tag Team Championships. Out comes Orange Cassidy and his crew, along with Chris Statlander, who is now with the Best Friends. Cassidy says it's real nice to see all three of you in the ring again. And then we see up on the Tron, Cassidy getting beat by Pac last year at Revolution. And Cassidy getting his ass kicked week in and week out for a couple weeks. Of course, remember, back before the scamdemic hit, it looked like we were leading to I believe it was supposed to be a parking lot street fight or something with Death Triangle versus the Best Friends of Orange Cassidy. Of course, that was on the first, they made that challenge on the first Empty Arena show, but we never got that match. So, it is great that they actually reminded these guys and reminded us. I totally forgot about this because it was over a year ago, that this feud was a thing. Then they said, and of course, Chuck said, we don't forget. Of course, I keep mixing names up, but Pac's like, we know you guys want a shot at the next AEW Tag Team Champions, but you need to get into the back of the line. You aren't worthy. You have a lot of work to do. Trent's like, you know what, you're right. I've been injured for a while. We have work to do, but we actually came out here to say, the boys are back in town. They do the hands together. Chris Statlander comes in and Trent's like, we have an alien now too. Thumbs up, hand in the middle too, and then they raise him up. So that is that. So it looks like that's the feud we're going to be going into soon. I don't know what's going on and how it's going to play out next week. Of course, next week is going to be taped tomorrow. Outside Daily's Place, Mike Tyson shows up. We're talking to Jack's coach, Urban Meyer. Which, by the way, I forgot to mention, speaking of showing up, you had the inner circle we saw at the beginning of the show. The inner circle come in with, looked like we had a police escort and then a black van, a black car that Jericho came out of. You had a couple other like Hummers and everything. These guys came in, all of them wearing black. Everyone except for Ortiz wearing a black leather jacket. Ortiz was wearing a vest. So the theme of tonight for the inner circle was back in black. Please tell me this is all on here because Chris Jericho's. They don't have it. Damn. So we have an inner circle interview. And I really, really, really wish this promo was online somewhere. Because Chris Jericho went out there and showed you, heel or babyface, this motherfucker is just one of the best. One of the best. There will never be another Chris Jericho. It was just phenomenal. I'm looking for it if I can see it, if I can find it. So yeah, Chris Jericho coming out here. He did what, some people find it hard to do, is putting over his group while also sneakily putting over the Pinnacle going into what is going to be on May 5th. We're not going to wait till the end of the month, next month, May 5th. It is going to be the Pinnacle versus the Inner Circle in a blood and guts match. If you haven't seen the promo yet, if I can find it here, I'll play it, but I can't seem to find it. But yes, I can't wait for blood and guts. It's going to definitely be something. But yes, if it wasn't for the Scamdemic, the week after Brody Lee and Matt Hardy made their debut, we were going to have blood and guts. And it was going to be crazy. Now, the question I'm going to have is, how are they going to fit 2 rings in blood and guts? For in Daily's Place for blood and guts? Are they going to go left to right, or left to right, or right to left? Because you kind of can't fit another ring behind the ring. Because usually when you do blood and guts or War Games as it is, you would go, unless they want to go out to the TII Bank Arena field and do that, I don't see how they're going to be able to do blood and guts in Daily's Place and make it look good. I mean, it would be hell of a thing for them to do, and we'll have to see what they do. But yeah, blood and guts is coming. I can't wait. Yes, this was supposed to be the Elite versus the Inner Circle, and even if we had the Elite versus the Inner Circle last year, we probably, if everything sort of still played out and we still got the Pinnacle and we still had the Inner Circle at this time, I guarantee you this would be Blood and Guts 2 coming up. Either way, I can't wait to see what we get here. This should be an interesting night on May 5th. So, yeah, can't wait for that. Then, we move on here. Backstage, Christian Cage is talking with Dasha and his debut match with Frankie Kazarian. He said it was a culmination of taking back what was taken from him 7 years ago. Because if you remember, he didn't retire on his own. He was just quietly retired by WWE because they medically disqualified him due to multiple injuries. He was pretty much stake bitten by the time he was pretty much forced to be retired by WWE because he was getting injured all the time. And after you get one too many injuries of a certain type, WWE deems you as snake bitten and don't want to use you anymore. He's starting to put over Frankie Kazarian when Taz comes in and talks about how these guys, they've known each other for years. And he's pretty much offering him to join Team Taz. He wants to get, Taz knows what he wants to get, and he wants his boys to help him as well as Christian help his boys, because let's face it, Christian is one of those guys that can be used for any group as somebody who can help put a team over, help build the guys up. People like tag teams could, get all of the information they need off of somebody like Christian. Yeah, so Christian doesn't answer. Of course, he was going to say something. Taz said, just sleep on it, and we'll come back to it later. Then we move to what they call the King Kong versus Godzilla matchup, as Bear Country took on Jurassic Express. This was a big boy fight with the Jungle Boy in between. These four guys just went out there and beat the hell out of each other. There was a funny spot where Bear Country was going to go do the finish where I think it was Bronson gets on Boulder's shoulders and does a splash onto the opponent, but Luchasaurus was down and he sits up just like the Undertaker, and AEW has a funny tweet on their social media: "The lizard has risen." Of course, you're not going to have the Jurassic Express lose this match. There's no reason they should. But Boulder kicks Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy with a clothesline. Luchasaurus sends Boulder out. Luchasaurus with a choke slam onto Boulder. Standing moonsault, 1, 2, 3, and they get the win. So that was that. Good match. Good match. 3 big guys and a Jungle Boy just going in there, giving you some hell of a time. Then, if you remember what happened last week, QT Marshall attacked and turned his back on the Nightmare Factory, on the Nightmare family, with 3 men. Here's some from QT Marshall.
The word for me. Whether it's creating this incredible training facility or carrying your broken down brother to whatever career he had left. Ever since the beginning of our friendship, all I've ever done is to work for you. And I'm sick of this narrative that you've created on your own, that you went out of your way to help me, basically leaving me dead in the water before I ever started. My credentials? Let's talk about credentials for a minute. Like while you were playing second fiddle to Ted Jr., or where you had to hide behind face paint, because even known as Dusty's kid, you knew deep down you wouldn't amount to. But you figured it out, didn't you? You put yourself on the indies and surrounded yourself with vanilla midgets so you could finally feel like the superstar you knew you'd never be. But now I've surrounded myself. But I've surrounded myself with men who are hungry, sick of waiting in the shadows, men who trust me. Because unlike you, Bargain Brand Sting, I'm not worried about other people's success. Aaron Solo will never be known as just somebody's boyfriend. Camarado, not to ever be called a body guy.
And yes, the whole entire Aaron Solo, not just somebody's boyfriend, was the fact that up until about a month ago, he was engaged to Bayley. So yeah, I'm pretty sure on the indies, when people knew he was dating Bayley, he would get chance of Bayley's boyfriend, which is very fucking disrespectful to somebody. I don't care if you're dating somebody in the wrestling business. Just because they're in WWE or AEW now, and they're having success that you want to get there someday, that doesn't give fans the right to sit there and just chant, you're their boyfriend or something. That's just so fucking disrespectful.
And then there's a Go-Go.
In the UK, I'm a household name. I'm mainstream, baby. Look at me. I'm a star. The British people, they follow me. They cheer every punch. I do Subway commercials for business, and I lock people out for pleasure. But this ain't Great Britain. This is, shitty America. And all you silly Yanks, you're gonna learn soon enough. The hard way.
Cody, this is my factory.
So he has Nick Camarato take a bucket of blue paint and try to toss it on the Nightmare Factory logo on the back. But yeah, it doesn't seem to go the best way. So yeah, hell of a promo by QT Marshall. I want to see where this goes with him. Anthony Ogogo, good stuff for him. Just comes off as this badass who knows what he's doing. I mean, he is a boxer. He is a former boxer who's going to go out there and give you and show you what he can do. And he will have a match next week. So we finally get to see the in-ring debut of Anthony Ogogo in AEW. So, yeah, can't wait to see that, especially. Of course, we know what Nick Camarato can do. He's definitely going to be... He has potential. Nick Camarato has potential to be a big man, a big star for a big man in AEW. Aaron Solo, I don't know. He's been in the business, what, 12 years or so? I just will have to wait and see what happens here. Can he break out from that stigma of him being Bayley's ex-boyfriend or ex-fiancé? Because that's what most people know him as. So, Sting comes out the stage, but because AEW has to have... They hired Sting, and this is what we get with him mostly. Yes, he had a match at Revolution, a tag team street fight. But now, it's just interview after interview after interview after interview. When Jake Roberts interrupts him, and Snake just... Yeah, it's... First off, I'm getting sick and tired of these. I don't want to see I don't want to see Sting coming out for an interview. 2 seconds into the interview, let's stop him. Let's stop him and have someone come out, because coming to try and make your name off Sting is the cool thing to do in AEW. It's gotten old. We don't need to see Sting every single week. We do not need to have an interview with Sting every single week. I understand he's not going to be in the ring every single week, but you don't have to see him every single week. You kind of take the shine off of the Sting star that you wanted him to be coming into AEW. Just give it a couple weeks off. We didn't need to see him at all this week in an interview. We don't need to see him in an interview next week. Give us a break from Sting. I know that people in AEW, Tony Khan is a mark for the wrestling business. He's happy to have a guy like Sting. But what does this really do for the young guys? Sting comes in, helps Darby Allin out, is Darby Allin's corner man, whatever, until that turns around, because you know eventually Sting and Darby are going to probably throw hands at each other, and it's going to be a match between those two, which I'm not opposed to. I would like to see Sting versus Darby Allin, but give me a break. Enough of the Sting. Enough of it. So he pretty much tells Jake Roberts' mate to do what he can to. He needs to help Archer channel that energy. He says, get him in, and he just needs to make it happen. Sting walks to the back. Archer and Roberts seem a little bit confused by this. Sky and Ethan Page are looking on from the stage stands, laughing. Don't really care about them. Team Taz is hanging out, says he needs to get on the same page, and Ricky Starks wants to stop instigating Brian Cage. Staz says they have a chance at Christian Cage and need to work together, and Starks says absolutely understood. Clearly, when this is done and over with, and they break Brian Cage away, it's going to be Ricky Starks versus Brian Cage, whenever they're going to do it. Maybe the pay-per-view. That's maybe even for the pay-per-view. But I couldn't tell you anything else of who that's going to be. But yes, that is what we're going with. So, yeah. Darby Allin took on J.D. Drake. He had Sting in his corner. Of course, J.D. Drake had Ryan Nemeth and Cesar Bononi for the AEW TNT Championship. People are wondering, why is J.D. Drake, somebody who's never had a singles match on TNT, why is he getting a TNT Championship match? Well, quite simple. Darby Allin put out an open challenge. J.D. Drake was the one to say, I'll take the match. People complain all they want, but what did Cody Rhodes do for 6 months, like 5 or 6 months last year? Probably not that long, probably 2.5 months. But what did he do? He had the open challenge. That's how we got Ricky Starks. That's how we got Eddie Kingston. We saw Warhorse on TNT. None of those guys, before they had the match with Cody, had a match on TNT. Or a match in AEW, period, but a match on TNT. So, giving this guy a match on TNT against the TNT champion isn't a big deal, because they've already established that you can have these type of matches. Now, Ryan Nemeth gets involved early for distraction, but Sting, with the bat, chases this guy away, leaving Ryan Nemeth to, not Nemeth, but Cesar Bononi to watch Drake's back. Couple stiff shots by Darby Allin during the commercial break. They would have picture-in-picture. You can just see up on the turnbuckle J.D. Drake was, and you just saw Darby slapping the taste out of this guy's mouth. Now, Drake throws some shots. Cannonball Senton, Vader Bomb, cover 2. Drake to the top, moonsault, pool is empty. Allin goes up top and gets stopped. He bites Drake's finger. Avalanche code red. Coffin drop. 1, 2, 3. Darby Allin gets the win. After the match, he's getting He's up on the stage when the Butcher just pounces on this motherfucker and knocks his ass out. So the Butcher, the Blade, and them are going to start beating up on Darby Allin. The Bunny goes over to the announce table and it's like, move all your stuff off here in a very high shrieky voice. They want to use it to put Darby Allin through. Of course, Sting and the Dark Order come out to chase them away, leaving the Bunny on her own as Tay Conti comes over, beats up her for a bit, so the referee gets them away, and that was that. Backstage, Alex Marvez was with Chris Jericho. Talk about blood and guts. Jericho ends up getting blindsided by the Pinnacle, and they drag him to the ring. You're wondering, where is the Inner Circle as the Pinnacle is beating up Chris Jericho? Well, somehow, some way, the cameraman shows us in the back. The Inner Circle's dressing room was bolted shut. They're beating up the door. They're breaking it through. Jericho is about to get powerbombed, but out rolls Iron Mike Tyson. So Mike Tyson was brought in to have the Inner Circle's back, which is fine. Spears is the last one to get out of the ring, so Mike Tyson pulling his punches, obviously, because if Shawn Spears took a legit punch from Mike Tyson, that motherfucker's in the hospital and is not going to be back up till next month. Just saying. But he beats up on Shawn Spears. The Inner Circle finally gets in. Everyone's gone. They're all away. And Jericho and Mike Tyson with the handshake saw around the world. And everybody's happy. And that was that. Next week, Chris Jericho will take on Dax Harwood, I believe it is. And Mike Tyson is going to be the enforcer. So, backstage, Tony Schiavone is with Britt Baker. I really don't care. Moving on. The Bunny with the Butcher and the Blade takes on Tay Conti with the Dark Order and Mr. -1. Well, this was a decent match. Tay Conti, of course, carrying the Bunny. Allie hasn't been in the ring that often. I mean, she's been for after they broke up the whole Nightmare Sisters thing, which was fucking stupid. She went back to being a manager for the last 5 months. So it's what am I supposed to do? Expect her to come out here and have great matches? No. But Bunny tries to, we go to commercial break. We came back and Sheeta was out there for whatever reason. And Bunny, of course, comes outside, nails Sheeta with a forearm, grabs her kendo stick. The Dark Order starts battling with Hardy's company, which we need to stop this shit. We do not every single week need to have the Hardy Foundation versus front office or whatever they're fucking called versus the Dark Order like that. I mean, we have blood and guts going on between the Pinnacle and the Inner Circle. Why not just give us that too? Have a two blood and guts matches in one episode of TNT, AEW. I don't know. That's my biggest thing is you having this battle between the Dark Order and Hardy's group. They're coming out and they're battling on the outside for matches with Tay Conti and the Bunny. What else are we supposed to see here? What else? What is this going to lead to? What is the end goal for this? If it's not going to be blood and guts, is it going to be a 10-man tag match, which I really am not interested in? I don't know. What is the end goal for this? Well, Bunny goes up top. She has the kendo stick. Sheeta grabs the kendo stick away from her. Tay Conti hits a suplex off the second rope. Puts her into the DDT, which is the hammerlock DDT, which she hits way better than Andrade does. Just saying. And gets the pinfall win. Next week's lineup is as follows. The Young Bucks versus Rey Fenix and Pac for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. Darby Allin versus Matt Hardy. Falls Count Anywhere TNT Championship match. Anthony Gogo will make his in-ring debut. Red Velvet versus Jade Cargill. And Dax Harwood versus Chris Jericho. Mike Tyson is the special ringside enforcer. All other Inner Circle and Pinnacle members are banned from ringside. And then we move on to the main event, which was a really, really good match until the finish. This was good. Really good match. You had the Young Bucks going out there, and it's what are they going to do? The story is, are they going to side with Kenny? Are they going to take their frustration out of Kenny? What are they going to do? And the match was going really well. Really well. The Young Bucks double teaming. You had Matt Jackson doing all of his big moves. Moxley getting his time in too. And then we come down to the finish, where the Young Bucks refused and couldn't come to themselves to hit the BTE trigger on Kenny Omega. So Moxley was like, fuck this. He tags in, hits a fucking Death Rider on Kenny Omega, tells them that's how it's done. Hits him with another one, puts him into the Bulldog choke, and then the Young Bucks super kick him. The Young Bucks super kick Moxley. Okay, well, what the fuck? Then Eddie Kingston tries to run out and get stopped by Anderson and Gallows. They hit the Magic Killer on the ramp. Back in the ring, they hit the Magic Killer on Moxley. Drag Omega on top of him. 1, 2, 3. Now, if you would have had that happen and then the Young Bucks just walk away, disgusted with themselves for what they did, I would have been fine with it. I would have been like, okay, we'll see where this goes next week. But did they? No, they didn't do that. What did they do next? You had Gallows and Anderson pick up Jon Moxley and say, we're going to test him. Callis says something in the next ear, and then they super kick Jon Moxley again. And then they all group hug as if everything is fucking fine. What the fuck? Honestly, I hope next week that Jon Moxley comes out and screws the Young Bucks out of the World Tag Team titles, because this right here was a fucking dumb thing to do. You missed an opportunity to have the Young Bucks do what they needed to do to get past Kenny Omega. To get that, to show that they aren't just Kenny Omega's lapdogs. Not just Kenny Omega's bitches. But no, they did what they did. It was a stupid fucking ending. They screwed up what would have been probably a hell of a good ending. But no, let's just do let's just go WWE out and not do something and just do something pathetic and fucking stupid and make the Young Bucks look even worse. So right now AEW is just, and you want to know why people are leaving? Why their audience has been down since Revolution? Shit like this. You pull shit like this, people are going to start turning off the thing. People have already started turning off because of that bullshit you pulled at Revolution, and you want to continue to do stupid shit like this? Nah, man. Nah, this was fucking stupid. You should have, I don't know where they're going to go with this. I know it's we should wait to see what happens, but no. That was stupid. That was just, I don't know. AEW... Yeah, and that's something else. That they've been doing this with the Young Bucks, and it's they're starting to feel like what Big Show is when he was wrestling all the time. Is they feel like they're trying. They don't know what to do with these guys. 1 minute they're heels, 1 minute they're baby faces. I mean, all of November of last year, they felt like they were supposed to be fucking heels. Then they became faces again. Now they're fucking heels again. Make up your fucking mind. This was pathetic. This was absolutely just the dumbest thing they could do. It's not I can, and there are people out there who's gonna like this, and hey, like what you like, that's what you do. But this didn't hit for me, and it's a big time miss that they could have did something. They could have did absolutely something good, and they didn't. Now I just saw it on here, and I'm gonna grab it if I can. I'm gonna play it if I can find it again. Mr. Eddie Kingston with a promo after the show goes off the air. If I can find it, somebody graciously put it on Twitter after the show. It's 29 seconds. Let's see if we can get this to go.
You stupid, selfish, wannabe gangsters are now screwed up. Jon Moxley's not dead. The king is not dead. We'll see you guys next week. And trust me when I tell you, I put this on my beautiful mother's eye. I and Moxley will get our revenge. We will.
Yeah, he's fucking hurt. Yeah, so... Yeah, I can see Eddie Kingston and Moxley ruining the Young Bucks title match next week, and I hope they do. I hope they actually cost them the tag team titles because that was just some of the dumbest shit I have seen. And hopefully that promo right there leads it up to what we get next week. This, again, will just be something I don't even, and here's the thing. Isn't Kenny Omega taking on Rich Swann in the end of this month at Rebellion? Not one time since that match has been made have they promoted it on this television program when Kenny Omega's on TV. You figured if Kenny Omega is in a match that you would actually want to promote, especially if you're doing this cross promotion that you've been doing for a while. You would have, when he's out there, oh, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to promote that match. But they haven't. So, honestly, in my opinion, the Impact shit can be ended tomorrow, and I really wouldn't care. It's really benefited nobody. They go on Impact Wrestling, and they fucking do paid ads that they absolutely just belittle and bury Impact Wrestling. So I don't... When this thing's done and over with, and we're looking back at AEW versus the AEW Impact collaboration, we're going to sit there and be like, what was the point? Because Impact numbers aren't going up. They're fluctuating usually lower than usual. And yeah, it's not help. It does, like, AEW didn't need it. So I don't know what they're going to do. I don't get the point. But it is what it is. AEW, big time miss at the end of the show. Hit that subscribe button. Comment down below. Like or dislike this video. Find me on Minds at the France Club. Find me on twitch.tv/France Club. Find me on Instagram at the France Club. And I will see you guys Friday for SmackDown. Until then, my name is France, and I'll see you guys later.